Nearly 450 resistance warriors are gathering in our nation's capital to rally the party's far left flank ahead of the midterms. Led by Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, their platform is to fight President Trump. But is this really just a fight to stay relevant? That's the big question. Joining me now is founder and executive director of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk. Charlie, what's your take?
Good morning. Boy, it's fun to see the Democrat Party learn nothing from the 2016 election. So they lost primarily because they lost touch with middle America. So now here they are rallying in Washington, D.C., figuring how can we become more radical? How can we take more money away from hardworking people? How can we become just extreme socialist left? You see the speakers, you see Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. And look, it's going to actually be interesting to see the Democrat Party is going to be dividing. You see it with the primary race happening in New York. You see it all across the country because they're upset they're no longer in power and they don't have a unifying message. The only consistency is how can we take money and freedom away from the American people? Well,
that was my question was, what does this say about the unification of the Democratic Party and what do they have to do to get unified at this point?
Well, I think they could learn something from the two successful special elections. They're not going to, though. I mean, if you look what happened in Pennsylvania and Alabama, they pretended to move more towards the middle and try to move more towards the middle part of the country, both ideologically and geographically. I think the midterm elections are going to be results versus radicals. The Democrat Party has become a party of absolute radicals that are determined to grow government to such ridiculous, exorbitant lengths and try to impeach this president. And if you look at the Republican Party, they've delivered results, and they've gone to work for the American people in conjunction with the president's agenda.
I want to take a look at some numbers and get your reaction to this. 64% of the resistance candidates that we're talking about are running in districts that President Trump won. 80% of the resistance candidates have never held office. That's a high number, 80%.
It's very, very high, and I think it kind of goes to show the kind of candidates that they're recruiting. They're people that are fed up and they're rising up against the president. They're going to make a lot of errors. They're going to have a lot of bloody primaries, of which the Republicans should be able to benefit tremendously from. But look, the Republicans are raising much more money than the Democrats. The RNC is very, very well funded. The DNC's in debt. They don't have a lot of cash on hand at all. And this kind of goes to show the strength and the health of the two parties when contrasted against each other. And look, when it comes down to the midterm elections, if you look at the results of the tax cut, you look at 80 million Americans that have lower utility bills, 40 million Americans that are seeing higher paychecks, contrasted with the Democrat Party that's screaming at the sky. I think it's going to be more successful.
Never forget about that. 24 Democratic seats needed to take control of the House. Do you think they can do it?
Well, look, here's what's going in their favor. The cliche is that it's very difficult for an incumbent party to keep their majorities coming in after a successful presidential election. But with that being said, Republicans are raising a good amount of money. There are a lot of Republicans leaving the House of Representatives, including Paul Ryan. But I do not have confidence that the American people are going to want Nancy Pelosi to be Speaker of the House. I think she is the best gift for Republicans you could possibly imagine. She's a radical. She's very inarticulate about the Democrats' agenda, if they even have one in general. And you can kind of see this contrast. You can kind of see a bubbling up undercurrent of the socialist young wave in the Democrat Party and this very elite, out-of-touch ruling class in the Democrats that refuse to relinquish power. And the Republicans are going to continue to benefit because of that.
And a lot of people say she just can't relate to middle-class Americans, and those are the people who are out there voting.
I'm not sure who she can relate to.
Right. Charlie Kirk, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.